where we could actually reverse the biological clock.
It sounds pretty wild, huh?
It does. But that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're talking about decoding death.
Oh, decoding death. I like that.
Yeah, it's all about understanding those biological processes behind, aging, and then, exploring how to slow it down, halt it, even reverse it.
It's a pretty fascinating field. There's some really mind-boggling advancements happening right now.
Absolutely. And to help us navigate this deep dive, we've got a great source, an interview with Rajan Kapoor. You might know him. He's a businessman, big-time investor in this whole anti-aging field.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah, he was on the Decoding the Future podcast.
Yeah.
And he talked about some really cutting-edge stuff. Senolytics, gene editing, stem cell therapy, even something called epigenetic reprogramming.
It's a lot to unpack.
It is. So where should we start? Maybe with those senolytics.
Sure, yeah, senolytics. Basically, they're drugs designed to target what are called senescent cells.
Senescent cells. Okay. Got to break that down for me.
Right. So these are cells that have basically stopped dividing, and they're actually, believe it or not, they're contributing to the whole aging process.
So it's not just about, slowing down aging. We're talking about, getting rid of the stuff that's causing it.
Exactly. Think of it like a proactive approach. We're tackling aging right at the cellular level.
I like that. So senolytics, check. What about gene editing? Have you heard about CRISPR technology and how that plays into all of this?
Oh, yeah. CRISPR is huge in this field. It basically allows scientists to target and modify specific genes.
So we're talking about editing the very blueprint of life to combat aging. That's wild.
It is pretty wild. But it has a lot of potential. And one researcher who's really pushing the boundaries here is Dr. David Sinclair. He's doing some amazing work on reversing aging in cells by manipulating epigenetic factors.
Okay, hold on. Epigenetic factors. What are those exactly? I'm lost.
Think of it like this. Your DNA, that's your hardware. Your genes are the software. And this epigenome, that's like the operating system that tells the software what to do.
So it's like rebooting your body's operating system, but to a younger, healthier state.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Dr. Sinclair's work is all about manipulating those epigenetic factors to essentially reset cells to a more youthful state.
This is all pretty incredible. But I've got to ask, will all of this be available to everyone? Or is it just going to be for the wealthy?
That's a valid concern. It's something a lot of people are talking about. But, like with a lot of technologies, the cost tends to decrease over time. As production scales up, it becomes more affordable.
So there's hope for us regular folks.
Yeah, there is. Rajan Kapoor actually, in his interview, he predicted that affordable solutions for this, for reversing biological age, could become mainstream within 10 to 20 years.
Wow. So potentially within our lifetime, all of this incredible stuff could be available to everyone.
It's an exciting time to be alive, that's for sure. But of course, with any new technology, especially something this big, there are always ethical and societal questions that come up.
Right, like what kind of questions are we talking about?
Well, some people worry about, about overpopulation, for example.
Yeah, that's a valid concern. If
Yeah.
people start living much longer, won't that put even more strain on resources?
It's a common concern. However, many countries are already experiencing declining birth rates. So these extended lifespans, they could actually help balance demographics in the long run, leading to a more sustainable population structure.
That's an interesting point. It's not as straightforward as it might seem at first glance.
Yeah, exactly. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. We've got a lot more to explore in this whole world of reversing biological aging. We haven't even gotten into things like stem cell therapy yet.
Whoa. Before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's take a quick breather and then we'll dive into stem cell therapy. This stuff is seriously mind-bending.
Agreed. It's a lot to take in. Okay, so stem cell therapy. This is an area with a ton of potential for rejuvenating all those aging tissues and organs.
It sounds kind of like science fiction, right?
Yeah.
Using stem cells to actually repair and replace the damaged parts of our bodies. How does that even work?
So stem cells are like blank slates. They can develop into different types of cells in the body. So theoretically, we could use them to replace those worn out cells in our organs, basically giving them a fresh start.
Okay, so say my heart, showing some signs of age, could stem cell therapy actually repair it or even replace those damaged cells.
That's the hope. It's still, early days, but there's a lot of excitement about the potential of stem cell therapy to treat, I mean, a whole range of age-related conditions,
Yeah.
from heart disease to Alzheimer's.
It's pretty remarkable. I remember Rajan Kapoor in his interview. He seemed really excited about stem cell therapy in particular. Do you remember what his main takeaways were about this technology?
Yeah, yeah, he was pretty enthusiastic. I think he believes that stem cell therapy could really be a game changer in how we approach healthcare.
So instead of just dealing with managing age-related decline,
Hmm.
we're talking about potentially reversing it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a whole paradigm shift in how we think about aging and healthcare in general.
So we've talked about senolytics, we've talked about gene editing, now stem cell therapy. Is there anything else out there on the horizon? Anything else that's, just as mind-blowing?
Well, we did touch on epigenetic reprogramming earlier.
Right, right. The whole rebooting your body's operating system thing. You
Yeah.
mentioned you mentioned Dr. David Sinclair and his work in this area.
Yeah.
What is it about his research that's so groundbreaking?
Well, Dr. Sinclair, he's made some really remarkable discoveries about how we can actually manipulate the epigenome to reverse the aging process in cells.
So like finding a hidden switch that just turns back the clock on ourselves.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. He and his team they're working on developing drugs that can actually activate these youthful genes and essentially trigger that epigenetic reset.
Okay, all of this is super fascinating, but I keep coming back to, the potential societal implications. I mean, if people are living significantly longer, won't that like put a strain on resources and maybe even make existing inequalities worse?
Those are definitely valid concerns, and they're concerns that we need to address proactively. But think about it this way: longer, healthier lifespans. That could also mean a more experienced and productive workforce, right? People could contribute to society for much, much longer, and potentially, drive even more innovation and economic growth.
That's a really good point. It's not just about adding years to life, but adding life to years. And if people are living longer, healthier lives, maybe we'll see a shift in priorities too. Maybe more of an emphasis on sustainability and long-term planning.
Exactly. It could lead to a more thoughtful approach to resource management and a greater focus on intergenerational equity.
It seems like, the potential benefits of reversing biological aging are huge,
Mm,
but we definitely need to be careful and thoughtful about how we navigate all of this.
absolutely. It's a balancing act. But the potential to really reshape our world for the better, I think, is undeniable.
I'm just curious, with all of these different approaches to, tackling aging, do you think there's one that holds the most promise, or is it more about like a combination of these different technologies?
Hmm. That's a good question. It's probably going to be a combination of these different technologies, targeting aging from all these different angles. So we might use analytics to clear out those damaging cells, then gene editing to repair that age-related genetic damage, and then stem cell therapy to rejuvenate those tissues and organs, and of course, epigenetic reprogramming that could play a key role in sort of orchestrating that whole process.
So it's like a whole symphony of scientific advancements
Yeah.
all working together to combat aging. It's pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah, it is, and this is really just the beginning. We're only just starting to understand the complexities of aging and the potential to really manipulate these processes. It's exciting to think about what the next decade will bring.
I know. I can barely wrap my head around it all. I think we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. So maybe we should, take a moment to reflect on everything we've learned, and then maybe explore some of the broader implications of a world where, reversing biological aging actually becomes a reality. So, okay, we've talked about like all the science behind reversing aging, but what does it all actually mean for us, for society? I mean, what's the big picture here?
Yeah, that's where it gets really, really interesting, right? It's not just about living longer. It's about, well, what are we doing with all that extra time? How does it change our world,
It's a big question.
It is. And Rajan Kapoor, I remember in that interview, he seemed to believe that longer lifespans could make for um a more vibrant and productive society, actually.
Yeah, yeah, he did say that, and I mean, it makes sense, right? If people could like pursue multiple careers over a longer lifespan. I mean, imagine the expertise people could build in all sorts of different fields.
Exactly. It's like instead of, feeling pressure to choose one path and stick with it, people could explore all these different passions, maybe even like reinvent themselves multiple times throughout their lives.
Wow. That would be that would be pretty amazing. But wouldn't that also create some challenges? Like how would retirement even work if people are, living and working for so much longer?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it really highlights how we might need to rethink some of those traditional like societal structures, retirement age,
Mm.
education systems, even our understanding of family and relationships. All of that could change in a world where aging just isn't the limiting factor that it is today.
Just like it's almost like we'd be entering a whole new era of human history.
It's pretty exciting,
Mm.
but also a little daunting. I mean, we need to approach all these changes carefully, make sure that everyone benefits from these advancements, not just a select few.
That's a really important point. We need to make sure that access to these technologies is fair, and that we're thinking about any potential downsides
Hmm.
and dealing with them before they become big problems.
Right. It's not just about extending lifespan. It's about making sure those extra years are good years.
Yeah.
That people are healthy, and that they're living fulfilling lives.
Right. Right. It's not just lifespan; it's health span.
Exactly. We want people to thrive, not just survive, and to be able to contribute to society and really enjoy all those extra
So
years.
so what does this all mean for us and for people listening right now?
Yeah.
Now we're still a while away from reversing aging being like a normal thing.
Yeah.
But all of this is happening now. The research, the advancements. I mean, what do we do with that?
I think the most important thing is to just stay informed, stay curious, and be part of the conversation, right? I mean, the future of aging, it's something we're all creating together. The choices we make today, they're going to shape what that future looks like.
Yeah, yeah. We have the chance to build a future where aging isn't, seen as this decline, but as like a continuation of growth
Mm.
and possibility.
I like that, and I think as we continue to explore all these possibilities, it's important to hold on to that sense of wonder
Hmm.
and optimism. This is a chance to really redefine what it means to be human. To push the boundaries of what we thought was possible.
Totally agree. I got to say, this whole deep dive it's left me feeling well, inspired,
Hmm.
but also a little overwhelmed, if I'm being honest. It's a lot to take in, but it's incredibly exciting, right? To
Yeah.
think about all this potential. I mean, who knows what the future
Yeah.
holds?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. It's a future worth working towards, though. A future where we can all live longer, healthier, more fulfilling lives.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive into reversing biological aging. We've talked about some groundbreaking research. We've thought about the ethical challenges, and
Yeah.
we've even dared to imagine a future where the limits of aging might just become a thing of the past.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey.
It has, but as always, the conversation doesn't end here. So to everyone listening, we encourage you to keep exploring these topics, ask your own questions, share your thoughts with us. Let's keep this conversation going
Yeah, let's do it.
because ultimately this future of aging, it's a story that we're all writing together, and it's a story that's just beginning to unfold. So until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and keep on diving deep.